Welcome to Time is on Your Side, the masterclass interview series on how to find more time and make the best use of it. My name is Stephanie Ray. I am the accountability evangelist and your host for this series. I help accountable people achieve their most ambitious goals so they can happily live a life of fulfillment and make a tremendous positive impact on the lives of the people they choose to serve. Today, I am featuring Brenda Kalasa. Brenda is an award-winning entrepreneur, podcast guest, speaker and leader in personal development and peak performance strategies. Her passion is teaching entrepreneurs and corporate leaders how to thoroughly enjoy the process as they work to create the life they desire within a clearly focused, joyful, and thriving business. Brenda uses her unique methods to help those seeking more confidence, clarity, and efficiency while striving to complete business building goals with ease. Brenda, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie. I am so pumped about this. I cannot wait until this starts.
All right. Well, we're gonna get right into it because I also cannot wait to hear from you on the topic of 3 keys to saving massive time in your week. Take it away.
Well, thank you. So first of all, I have to start with a confession. So here goes. My name is Brenda Kalasa, and I am and have been for years a recovering multitasker. Right? Listen,
Right.
I'm a mom. I'm a mom, right? So we moms learn very quickly how to multitask. It's the only way to get things done, right? So when you're constantly juggling to make appointments, be on time for school, put food on the table, hit hockey and cheer practice, be the tutor, put another load of laundry in, unload the dishwasher, be the best parent, the best spouse, the best friend, all to just collapse at the end of the day to start all over again. It's crazy, right? So how is it that some people with the exact same workload and more can get through anything and leave the office feeling accomplished, energized, and fulfilled versus others that work crazy long hours like I used to, leaving the office feeling frustrated, scattered, and unfulfilled at the end of their day? So if you're like so many others, your days are busy, right? You're running all day, you're putting out fires, you're answering calls, you're fielding questions, replying to emails, posting on social media, juggle, on and on and on. And most days, you just can't believe how busy you were, and yet you didn't do one thing to move the needle. Again, your list barely got touched. You did nothing but run a marathon, it feels, leaving you feeling absolutely frustrated that you worked yet another day longer than anticipated. Anybody? But hey, I bet the dishes got done and you put a load of laundry in and your bathroom is super clean, right? For those of us who work at home, I get it, because this was my life for so many years. I was busy but not productive in the areas that really mattered. In fact, part of how I actually ended up coaching was after finding myself on the edge of burnout a few years back. When we're doing all the things to run a busy house, parenting 2 young kids, all with a husband working overseas, 5 weeks in, 5 weeks out, that's busy in itself. And then you throw in a business or 2 just for fun. And now you're dealing with all of the above, including projects, deadlines, appointments, networking, marketing, receivables, payables. You have to be on top of it, right? You have to be on top of it and super organized. You have to be focused and clear on your priorities and goals that are going to help you to grow that business or those businesses. Well, that wasn't me. That wasn't me at all. And you know what? It hit me hard when I found myself rolled up in a ball and crying in the corner for weeks, just out of pure exhaustion. On top of that, I was having chest pains, and I always seemed to be down with a cold, always. And I knew that in order to stay healthy and balanced and be able to enjoy my work, I needed to be able to manage my time better. And a big part of that was learning how not to multitask at work because it clearly didn't work for me. So the ability to manage one's time is one of the most single important skills that you can have in your business. I really, truly believe that. When we take on too much and feel the need to constantly juggle and multitask just to get by, our days are filled with being busy instead of productive. Our focus becomes blurry and we get distracted easier. And then we never end up finishing anything, right? So now I finally have a system. And when I follow that system, because some days I don't, some days I forget, but when I do follow it, I feel so much better about myself. I have more confidence, I honor my boundaries, and I'm able to take more time for myself without the guilt. And it starts by giving permission to be able to enjoy the process. It ends with multiple spare hours you didn't even know you had, which you can then use to create more revenue, attract more clients, and experience more joy. It has literally transformed the way I operate my business. Because let's face it, everybody has the same amount of time in their day, right? We have no control over those 24 hours, but we do have control over how we utilize those hours. So that's what I want to talk to you about today is I want to go over how you can save a reported average of 15 hours a week just by spending 5 minutes a day. So we're going to start with clarity, then we're going to learn how to take control, and then we're going to finish the day strong with my #1 way to save massive time in your week. And if you stick around to the end, maybe I can share a free gift with everybody. Yeah,
for sure.
All right, perfect. So if we're good for that, what I want to cover are 3 key elements from my time, align your time daily success map that you can start to use right now to save massive time in your week. So you might want to take out a piece of paper. You might want to write some of this down or just pause it, whatever. The first one is clarity. Do you ever come into the office not having a clue what you need to be doing? Right? You sit and you stare at the computer screen as if it's going to magically have the answers for you. And you end up wasting really valuable time that can make you stuck for the rest of the day. But when you can define your priorities and know exactly what steps are needed every day to be able to work towards those goals that are going to make you more money and attract more clients, you're going to naturally feel more successful and way more fulfilled. But without knowing that, we run around like a chicken with our heads cut off, wasting valuable time. Believe me, lists, projects, and goals, they don't get done on their own. It takes organization, determination, and the ability to stay focused with every task at hand. Clarity starts up here. First, by clearing the space in your head. So, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever thought that you would just explode from all the worries, appointments, to-dos, the stress rolling around in your head from having to keep everything straight, right? The cat needs to go to the vet. You need to finish that project. You need to get back to that customer, create that post, have that meeting, find time to train the new VA. Oh, and by the way, the bathroom's disgusting. Our heads get so full, right? I don't know about you, but until I can start to think clearly and get those thoughts out of my head, I feel like I'm in total chaos. So here's the first thing. Start to write each thought that comes to you on paper. Just get it out of your head and onto a sheet of paper. Actually, I have a specific journal that I use. And what I do every day is I write the date on top of my page. And after that, I give myself 5 minutes to dump. Doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to make a lot of sense to anybody else but you. Just write out any and all thoughts that have been on your mind, no matter how trivial, and keep filling up that page as you go throughout the day. This helps you to create a fresh and focused brain. And you know you're not going to forget anything because it's all written down in front of you, right? So there, I want you to highlight the things that you need and you want to get done for that day, including your top 3 non-negotiables. That is your 3 priorities that you will zone in on that day, that morning, when you're most energized, the things that you have to get done, only you. Everything else can fill in the cracks and get done afterwards. The rest can wait, be delegated, dumped, or placed in another day, onto another day. I like to call that my Sunday basket. And I love that term, and I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. Those are the things that can be slotted in for another day. And that's how we start out with clarity, by knowing what our priorities are for the day and having it all written down in plain sight. Next, number 2, we start to take control of our day. Whether you work alone or not, it can be a huge time waster if you don't feel like you're in control of your environment. So I do this in 3 ways. 1 is I map it out. 2 is I mitigate distractions. And 3, I have set boundaries in place. So first, I map it out on my get-to-do list. I should have had one of these lists handy. My get-to-do lists. Ask me why I call it a get-to-do list sometime. But when I don't use that, I feel scattered all day. However, when it's used with batching my 5-minute and under tasks, time blocking, and scheduling, it's like a breath of fresh air. That's when I know exactly what I should be doing, for how long, and when to stop and move on to the next thing on my list. This gives me the freedom to just see exactly how long things will take, how long I've scheduled for things to take, and how much wiggle room I can give myself in between tasks to account for unintended interruptions that do happen, right? We always underestimate the time that we think we're going to need for something. So this is the one main reason, or one of the main reasons, that we just run out of time in our day. We end up working longer hours than what we should. That's why time blocking is one of the most important things that I do. It works because it forces you to know exactly how much time in your day that you actually have and how much you can truly fit into that time. In essence, you're giving yourself deadlines for your tasks, which helps to create massive momentum for the things that you've been putting off. And it makes you feel super productive and fulfilled, knowing that you've just crossed everything off that list. You know, if you've ever heard of Parkinson's law, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and why creating timeframes are important. So Parkinson's law states that work contracts to fit in the time we give it. If you give yourself all day to complete your paperwork, guess what? It's going to take you all day. If you give yourself 2 hours, it'll typically take you 2 hours. I'm not kidding. It's magic. Time blocks and false deadlines can be really effective in getting things done in a much quicker way. This only works, though, if you can stay away from distractions, the single largest thief of productivity. Did you know that the average entrepreneur spends between 2 and 3 hours a day on distractions? That's a huge amount of time that you're never going to get back. Time that you have to make up elsewhere. Distractions tease us all day long. And if we're not in the right headspace, we fall for it every single time, don't we? Ever find yourself on Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram for hours, not knowing how you got there? Sometimes that's due to boredom, but for busy people like we are, it's not too often that we're bored, right? It's usually a coping mechanism that's kicked in to help keep you safe within your comfort zone. It happens when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel anxious or fearful of something. a great way to mitigate those time-stealing distractions is to make it harder to give in to them. This is called causing friction. Think about it. Most of the time, we allow ourselves to be distracted because it's easy and it's familiar, right? It gets us away from something that we don't really want to do. So to create friction, we take away the convenience. And we can do that by, turning off notifications on your desktop and your phone. Actually putting your phone away into a drawer somewhere. Committing to looking at your emails only a couple times a day. Having a clean and organized desk to start the day off with. And here's one I have to remind myself with all the time, and that's cutting down of all the open tabs you have on your computer. That's a huge distraction for me because I have a lot usually. And lastly, start incorporating more reward breaks in the day. Now, if you've ever worked with me, you know that I am big on rewards. And many times, the cool thing is that we can actually use distractions as rewards for work well done. So by taking the time to fill your cup again after every time block, you recharge yourself with the energy needed to move on to the next. If a distraction is being on Facebook, reward yourself with 5 minutes of Facebook. If a distraction is, you keep wanting to text or look at your phone, that could be a great reward for you. So just by keeping yourself energized and rewarded throughout the day, you're not going to need to distract yourself as much. And you know what? This is really simple, but it really works. And the last thing we do, number 3, is finish strong. Okay, it's one of the most important things I want to cover today. In other words, setting ourselves up, finishing strong to set ourselves up for a successful tomorrow. And that starts with your end of the day today. Okay, so before leaving the office, I want you to take that journal, those papers, or that pad you wrote on that you dumped your brain on. And I want you to do another one for tomorrow. Write out all the priorities and to-dos that you want to get done tomorrow onto a new page. Identify once again your top 3 negotiables that you're going to schedule onto your get-to-do list when you're most energized. Again, for most, that's in the morning. The rest can be delegated, dumped, or placed in your Sunday basket for another day. Put what's relevant and time block those into your list for tomorrow. Rinse and repeat. Just by doing this each and every day, it's not only going to set you up for success tomorrow, but you'll start the day off with complete clarity, focus, and knowing exactly what it is you need to do without the confusion, without the distractions. So I've been told that my Align Your Time Daily Success Map system, which is where this is taken from, saves my clients an average of 15 hours a week. So let's just put that into perspective for a minute. Even if you just save 1 hour a day by doing exactly what I told you, that's 5 hours a week, which is 20 hours a month, right? That's 240 hours a year. That's a lot of extra time that you've just freed up to be able to make more revenue, attract more clients, and experience more joy in your life. So happy birthday.
Oh, it's fantastic. I already feel better and I haven't done anything yet. But just listening to you talk about the clarity and the steps, it's so refreshingly prescriptive. And I think that people crave that, to know how to do this. So time management is a topic we all talk about, like it's a thing everyone should just have mastered, but it really is a discipline. And the way that you've laid out your steps, it shows how that works. So I have a couple of follow-up questions before we get to the free gift. One is, you piqued my interest on this get to do list. Tell us a little bit more about why it's called that.
So my get to do list, So if you have a lot of people have a to-do list, right? Well, to me, that means, oh, I have this list I have to do. Oh my, and it can make you feel really overwhelmed. But if I call it my get to-do list, I get to do these things because I get to have this amazing company. I get to do these things that will help my business to grow. I get to make opportunities for myself by crossing off each task. I get to be better. Does that make sense?
It does. And I was also thinking about well, you can look forward to it then, because the have to do list, as you
Yep.
said, is like you dread it, and that's where procrastination starts to come in. And it just feels like an obligation. And if you're a business owner who chose to do this,
Right?
you're almost like you forgot. Well, why did you want to go into business with yourself to have freedom? And now you have a have
Exactly.
to do list that you dread doing, which this is the whole point of being an entrepreneur. So I love the idea of get to do list. Absolutely. And I do get excited when there are things on my list. I've never called it that before, but I do have a differentiator of things that kind of have to get done because that's just kind of part of the deal. And the things that I'm really energized to do, but both need to be done. So I think that's great. I'm also curious to know how do you reward yourself? You said you're big on rewards. How do you personally reward yourself when you've been focused?
Right. So I personally reward myself by getting a beautiful cappuccino, right? Or playing with my puppy. And okay, I'm being vulnerable here, but I also love dance breaks. I need to get up and move because I sit at my desk a lot, obviously. I'm all virtual. So at the end of a big task that I've just completed and crossed off my get to do list, I stand up, I crank up a really good song and I dance it out. If you've ever seen Grey's Anatomy, you know what I'm talking about. You dance it out and then you're more energized and you just feel happier, you feel better. But you know what? It works differently for different people. Jerry Seinfeld was asked by a young kid one time, how do you make new jokes? Because Jerry said that he creates a new joke every day.
Mhm.
And Jerry told him that his reward, how he does this to keep momentum, is he marks an X on the calendar each and every day that he makes a new joke. That gives him that momentum and that hit of dopamine, right? Every time he gets to put a new X on the calendar because he doesn't want to break the chain.
Mhm.
So that's his reward. So all rewards can look different, right? If you want just that piece of beautiful chocolate, go have it. That's a reward. As long as it's something that you look forward to, that's going to allow you to gain momentum, especially on the things that we put off because we're overwhelmed or we're in fear or there's a reason why we keep putting it off. But if we have that carrot, that reward that's waiting for us, it makes it way easier. And you know what, I coach my clients on all of this, how to break things down. I talk a lot about Kaizen and the small steps, small thoughts, small questions in my coaching. So that helps as well. But the rewards are a big part of that.
Absolutely. And I love that you have shown that rewards are not, they can be small things that you wouldn't think are rewarding. The Jerry Seinfeld example is great. I know myself right now, I started a yoga practice about 50 days ago. The reason I'm not really sure is because I'm doing a consecutive 30-day routines. So I have to do the math. So I think I'm in day 53 then, I guess. But
Wow.
each 30 days I wrote on my whiteboard the 30 days, how long each one takes and just which day it is. And then when I'm done with it, I go and just wipe it off the whiteboard.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, and it's working. I mean, it's such a small thing, but what it does, as you said, I don't want to break the chain. And it reminds me that this is part of a larger goal. The goal is not to do yoga today. The goal is to have a practice. And so it's
Exactly.
really it. So I love that you pointed that out because I just did that, but I didn't realize the impact of it until you described it the way that you did. So I highly endorse that. And now when I wipe it, I'm going to have a bigger smile on my face because I'm going to
Right?
realize that this is an actual legitimate reward. Like I don't have to reward myself for doing yoga and having, buying a new outfit. Like, it doesn't have to be big. It's just, I get to wipe that off and then see the progress that I'm making, which in
Right.
itself is a reward, especially for people who are on their goal pursuit of an ambitious goal, which many of the audience members are. That's not something that you achieve in a day or a week. You're in it kind of for the long haul, and you have to put those rewards in sooner and more frequently. That's what I got out of what you said, as opposed to waiting till you're done. Some of these goals take
Oh,
years,
oh,
years to do,
absolutely.
right? And the reason they take years is because they're so important and in big, so they take more effort, but you get more reward out of them at the end. But that's not to say that you should wait for that reward, because frankly, if you wait to give yourself any reward until you're done, you will probably quit.
It's all about the intention, right? Your intention should be to enjoy the process along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Then the goal doesn't seem like so far away, right? And if you do reach that goal, you're going to feel even better about it because you enjoyed the process, right? Whether it's, and you know, the rewards, I have a client that doesn't get to watch her favorite show very often. So she says after a day of crossing off things off of her get to do list, if she completes everything, she gets to watch her show.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Those distractions can be rewards as well, remember. So yeah, it's different for everybody.
It is. So speaking of that, as I go to wrap up, and before we get to the free gift, I want to ask you one more question specifically about you. So you have demonstrated a process to save yourself time, and you quoted an average of, I think you said 15 hours a week. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and you may have saved more, but when you got into this rhythm and you saved this time, what did you do with it? What did it enable you to do that you didn't have time to do before?
Well, in the summer, I take a half day off every Friday, if not more. And so it frees up time when I need it. I also work a lot more on my business. So I'm always planning new masterminds, new programs, new talks. That time that I can free up has allowed me to plan so that I can make more money, right? Create more revenue. I mean, that's what it's all about, attracting more clients. Otherwise, why are we in business?
Right.
Right. But you also have to enjoy it. So
Yes.
the time that you create, use a little bit of that for the things that you're passionate about, the things that you really want to do that you never get to otherwise.
And just a reminder to everybody, as Brenda's saying, you know, the purpose is you have to have money, you have to make money in a business, but it's bigger than that. If you don't make money, you can't have the impact that you want. So in order to serve people, it's inevitable that you're going to need money. So you do have to create that time to do that by using your method. You can do that and also find time for yourself to keep yourself renewed so that you have that continuous passion for what you do, which is so important. So that's wonderful. Thank you for that. And thank you for your free gift. Now's the time for you to tell us about it.
Yeah. So if you guys related to any of this, and you know that managing your day just isn't working, it's not producing lasting results or progress for you in your business, I'd love to know more about that and what it is that you're facing, just for a little bit of market research I'm doing. So I think we're going to post a link on the speakers page, but just by sharing how you get through your day, especially right now with this pandemic, I'm going to give you my killer daily routine with checklists to help you get through your day easier. It's valued at $79. And then if you decide that you'd like to book a chat with me afterwards to discuss how we can take your confidence, your productivity, your joy in your business to the next level, then I'll also enter you into a draw for my Align Your Time Power session. It's a 60-minute session, comes with a 12-page workbook to follow along with, and that's valued at $225. I will even throw in my get-to-do list with that workbook. So that's over $300 in gifts just by listening today, because I appreciate you.
That is wonderful. Very generous, Brenda. Thank you so much. And so let's talk about how do people keep in touch with you when this is all done? What's your favorite way?
Well, my favorite way is on Facebook. So connect with me, Brenda Colasa, Creative Thinking and Solutions. You can go to my Facebook group, which is the Empowered Leader. What is my group? The Empowered Business Leaders Community. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Brenda Colassa. So connect with me in a variety of ways. You can just email me as well, or reach out on my website, which is brendacolassa.com. And yeah, I love meeting new people, and I love sitting down and finding out what makes you tick, what's going on.
That's great. Well, take advantage of that, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed everything that Brenda shared and some of our chit chat afterward. And check out the other speakers as well who have other perspectives on how to find more time. And finally, if you haven't joined my Facebook group yet, I invite you to do so. It's for ambitious accountability ambassadors, where we keep conversations like this going. I hope to see you there. Thanks, everyone. And thanks again, Brenda.
Thank you. Bye.